All right, welcome to this next episode of the Free Minds Thrive podcast. My name, as it always is Bobby Vincench, and I am your host here today. Today's episode is going to be a recording, an edited recording of the talk that I gave at the Royal Influencer Organization's Paradigm Shift Business Life and AI virtual event. I was invited to speak, as I often am, for the past year or so. And this particular event was about a paradigm shift in your business, your life, and specifically around AI. I had plenty to say in my allotted time slot about staying human in an increasingly AI world. All right, enjoy. We are here, of course, at an AI-focused event. We're here to get some paradigm shifts. And, I want to emphasize something about that, too. Some things happen in the world that are paradigm shifts or feel like they are. And some things happen that are just little evolutionary steps and don't feel like shifts at all yet. Over time, looking at it at a different scale of time, are a paradigm shift, right? Something can happen over the course of several weeks or months or years for you. And it didn't feel like this massive shift all at once. But when you look at it a little closer and you zoom out a little bit, you're like, whoa, I had a big shift over the course of that time. So changes are happening all the time. And that's really important to note in your mind because you have to be ready for them. You have to be flexible. And with AI on the scene, of course, and I've got my own views I'll share today, but less about the AI, although that will come up, and more about the impact of that on how we make sure that we stay human, how we make sure that we stay authentic. And, there's a place for almost everything that's in the world in your life. Some of it is going to be very minimal. Some of it is going to be extraordinarily involved, depending on what the thing is and how you choose to live your life. But my hope for you is that you are choosing to live your life, and you're not just randomly moving along and jumping on bandwagons every time the train comes by or the wagon comes by and everybody's on it, and you're like, oh, that's the next place I have to go, because that's where they're all going. Well, you could do that, or you can keep going where you had your mind and your eyes set, where your compass was pointing, where your map was showing you wanted to go, because that's where you wanted the world to go. In some ways, there's things in the world that happen that you can't change. In other ways, there's things that are going to happen in the world that, quite frankly, you don't have to join in on. And then there's other things where, well, that's just somebody else's idea of where the world is going. Where do I want the world to go? And that's what I want to talk to you about today, because I think it's so important that we remember that as humans, we have creative power. We have the power to create in this world. And we may not be gods, although I'm sure some people have some unique and interesting perspectives on that. But we are not God ourselves, right? We can't just, and anything happens. Right? That's only for God in God's domain and in a way that we can't even comprehend. But as humans, we know as a matter of fact that we have the ability to create, and sometimes to create things that never were, to create stories that were never created before, paintings, music, businesses, business ideas, products, all sorts of different things that nobody had ever really thought of in the way you thought of them. And then you create it and manifest it out in the physical world. And there it is. Something that's there because you existed. Because you existed. And all the parts that make you who you are. So I want to share something here today. I want to focus in on an idea and dial in. And this is the idea of staying human. It's something I'm very focused on at Free Minds Thrive, which is my company. I am the founder of Free Minds Thrive. I founded it years and years ago when I left my 17-plus year career and my roughly 25-plus years in that industry to start something new. And part of the reason is that even though I loved what I was doing back then, for that chapter in my life, it delivered in all the ways that it needed to. I enjoyed it. I was there. I was all in. But things change. We're talking about change here, right? Well, things changed in my life. Things changed in my mind based on that experience. And I started to realize that not enough people are focused on their health. Truly. I don't just mean, eat less ice cream and eat more, whatever you think healthy is. Eat more fruits and eggs. I'm talking about your health overall. I'm talking about the entire way that you navigate the world and you operate in the world from morning till you put your head down for bedtime at night. That's what I'm talking about when I say health. I see a lot of people who have chronic health problems. I see a lot of people who are stressed out with their businesses. I see a lot of people who look for easy answers all the time because they don't have the physical and mental resilience to get through all of the problems they're facing. I also saw people who had their priorities all wrong. I see people every day walking around who completely lack a plan. They completely lack any type of specific goals or some course of action to achieve those goals, right? Because it's not enough to just say, I've got these goals now. Yay, I did it. No, you didn't do anything yet. All you did was put a pin on the destination. Now you got to go get there. And sometimes that's the hard part. It's also the enjoyable part. It's that journey, right? Because you get there and now you still got to set a pin somewhere else and go do something else. There's always a journey in life. There's always a new chapter in your story until, of course, one day there's not. But the world today is becoming very distracting, more than perhaps ever before. There's so many different things vying for your attention when you're trying to run your business, operate your business, all the different tools, all the different softwares, all the different this, all the different that. And sometimes when you start getting into this space, much like any other occupation or any other area of life, let's say you're somebody who gets into the medical world and you start getting into medical school, and now you're hearing how all the medical people talk to each other. You start getting into that community. You start thinking like them. In some ways, it's groupthink, right? People start to think like each other and less like themselves. And in other ways, it's necessary, right? Because those people are already there. They already have ideas. They're sharing them with you and taking you under their wing, and you're learning. But it's the same in business. You get into business, and all of a sudden, what happens? Well, I'll tell you what happened with me as an entrepreneur, a brand new solopreneur who had never owned a business in my life prior. I came into this world, into this entrepreneurial world, and what happened was I immediately got bombarded with all the different ideas on how to do things. In many ways, that was great, and I had already started listening to people prior, so I had some baseline knowledge, people like Ramona and people like others, the Grant Cardones of the world, the Ramonas, the John Lees, and so many others, countless people that I listened to. And everybody's got a different opinion. Everybody's got a different opinion about almost everything. And then some people have shared opinions, and then another group of people have a contrary shared opinion to that one. So it's not the case that all experts agree on everything, right? Everybody's got their own ideas. So even though I've never been a business person, even though I've never been an entrepreneur prior to that point, can't I have my own ideas? Well, I've never done it yet, but what if I've got a crazy idea nobody ever thought of? That's a visionary. That is a visionary. That is what is going to, in my opinion, make you one of the happiest successful entrepreneurs in the world, is that you're not just copying and pasting everything that the first person you talked to came up with, but you're actually going out there and using your own brain and saying, I want to try something crazy. Nobody agrees with me. Everybody's telling me it can't work. I want to try it. Part of being human is using your creativity and your own mind for things. So I'm very focused at Free Minds Thrive on making sure that people are building actual confidence in their own ideas and the path they're taking, and they learn how to navigate that to remain confident throughout. Because quite frankly, let's all face it, people with confidence are generally going to outperform people without confidence almost every day of the week in almost every situation. If you're not confident and you're fumbling all the time, you're not sure of things, you're taking too long to take action, you don't really have a plan, you have no ability to shift with that plan as the tides turn and the winds shift. If you don't have that confidence, if you're not building it, you're gonna fall behind in that case. And confidence is an innately, sort of conscious being kind of trait. It's something humans have. There are many animals that you can see exhibiting confidence. Confidence is something you build over time by proving to yourself you can do the things you say you're going to do. By proving to yourself and knowing that even though I don't know what situation I'm going to get into, I know I'll figure it out when I get there. That's confidence. So how confident are you? Do you believe that no matter what I throw at you, no matter what anybody throws at you, no matter what the world does to try to crush you, confuse you, disorient you, that you are going to figure it out? That you know you can. Because if you don't have that mindset yet, you're not confident enough to where you need to be to thrive as whoever it is you are. And so I try to encourage people to focus on their health, focus on being intentional every single day, as I discussed before, waking up with a plan, taking action on that plan, knowing what you're doing and why you're doing it, knowing where you're going and why you're trying to get there. And if things change, why am I changing, right? These sound like a lot of questions. They sound like a lot of checking in. But that's exactly right. Because otherwise, you are at the whim of everybody else's will. Your business, your personal life, you're navigating the world, and other people are driving you where you're going because you're not behind the steering wheel. To stay human is to execute on being you. Someone you probably don't even know who that entirely is yet, as none of us do. We're all on a journey discovering more and more about ourselves over time. But it's a journey nonetheless I want you to truly be engaged in. And I want to talk about that a little bit today as it pertains to business, entrepreneurship, life, because they're all connected in many ways. Once you get into business, your life and your business just kind of come together no matter how much you try to keep them separate. They are very much intertwined. And as we do that, as we talk about that, there's no way to avoid talking about artificial intelligence, right? And what does that mean for us? And I want to offer my unique perspective on this, while of course promoting the idea that you ought to understand AI. I also want to make sure that you stay human at the same time. So let's talk a little bit about staying human and what that means and what kinds of questions maybe we should be asking ourselves to determine what we're doing, why we're doing it, what we're here for. And it's a question that I want to ask you. I want to ask you, why are you here? What is the reason that you believe that you are here? And of course, my visuals don't want to change here, but it's the question I'm asking anyway. Why are you here? Just think about it for a moment. Well, why am I here exactly? What am I doing here? Why am I becoming a business person? Maybe it's financial reasons. Maybe you want freedom, time freedom, financial freedom, any other number of things, as most entrepreneurs do. Freedom from that employer you had previously that made your life perhaps a living hell, or some version of a living hell. Perhaps that's why. Perhaps you need more money and you feel like, I know I can scale better and try my crazy ideas if I'm doing it on my own. So why are you here is a very important question, but it's more than just business. I'm a very legacy-focused person. I think a lot about what's going to happen when I'm gone. And I don't think about it in a morbid, terrifyingly negative way. I have turned the thought about death and the thought about the end of my life into a deep, deep motivator. It motivates me to live more intentionally every day and to control my life. And part of thinking about my legacy is thinking about, well, why am I really here? What am I really doing? What do these experiences mean, not only to my own experience, but the experience of the people around me that I touch and interact with every day? So why am I here? And why are you here? And that's the question I'll ask you. And if you take a few moments as I'm speaking here to just consider it, why are you here in this life? What is your reason? You must have a thought about it. You may not have the full answer, and that's okay. But to contemplate this question is a very deep and important question, because I think that it should influence how you spend your days, how you spend your creativity, how you utilize your own intelligence. In what ways do you or don't you give up your own personal autonomy and personal thinking for other things? Why are you here? Why are you starting a business? And what's the real reason? Let's get it straight before you start the thing. Maybe you just have a crazy idea the world needs. Some kind of service, product, whatever it is, and you're like, I know the world needs this. And that's why you believe you're here. That's why you're here starting the business. You're like, I know the world needs this. I don't know. I'll probably make some money doing it. I hope so. I mean, why else would you start a business? Maybe I know that nobody's done it quite this way, but more importantly, the world needs this thing. So you go out there and you give them that thing, and hopefully you are totally all in on that idea. Yeah, maybe you brainstorm with people once in a while. Maybe you reach out to other people for ideas. Maybe you check it against other people's thoughts and say, hey, what do you think of this thing? And they tell you it's good or bad, and either way, you're going to do it, right? Because it's your crazy idea. Why are you here? And doesn't that play into the human experience? Aren't we all a little bit worried about, why am I here? Not just why are all humans here? We're not part of some beehive or ant colony where we're all just another soldier marching along. There's something very special about the fact that people are here with their own individual minds and their own individual ideas and thoughts and things. The experience of you just getting to be you're the only person who gets to do that, I think is incredibly, incredibly not only important, but amazing. What a gift that each of us gets to be the person we are. The question then for me becomes, but are you actualizing the full potential of what you've been given here? Whatever gifts you bring to the table, are you doing something with that? Part of the human experience is you getting to see yourself shine, You getting to see yourself emit that light out onto the world and go and change the world, right? The human experience isn't just about playing on someone else's playground. It's about saying, I can make a better playground, and I go make another one. Or I don't even like playgrounds, and I go do something totally different to give people another option to do something. The world is not headed in a definitive direction unless we all just follow along with that direction. You have power. You were given free will by God. You were given the power to manipulate the world around you in your direct experience, of course. You can't just go, make a tree lift out of the ground by willing it in your mind and it just comes out of the ground. But you still get to go around and make things happen. You get to physically alter the world. You get to change people's perceptions, ideas, the way they live, the way they do things through your business, through your personal choices, through your example as a leader. It's part of the human experience to create and to affect the direction of the world. You didn't know you had that power, did you? Some of you do. But some of us talk to ourselves and to each other in a way like things are set the way they're going. And I don't believe in that idea. I don't believe in this idea that fate is predestined and there's nothing we can do about it. For me personally, we are here on purpose with the ability to make choices. So we can do what? Make choices. So I want to talk about the advent of AI for a moment because this is very, very important. For the record, I think everyone should understand AI, how it works, and they should, at least at a minimal level, try it out and see what it could mean for you. I also believe, in my deepest heart of hearts, that the more you use artificial intelligence for anything, the more you rob yourself and even someone else who you could have worked with, hired, brainstormed with, whatever it is, another human being, you have robbed the opportunity to grow innately. Your own creativity requires time, taking a little bit of time to think, taking a little bit of time to work through thoughts and ideas and contemplate. So I ask you to use AI minimally so that you can enhance your own humanity, your own creative skills, your own self-confidence, your own self-esteem, because even though it takes time and it's hard work and it takes grit and determination to create, that is what the human experience is all about. Your human intelligence is built by not only you learning things through the various forms that you can learn things, one might be AI, but as AI itself will tell us, it's not always right, and it doesn't always get things right. I don't even need to show you an example because you can do it yourself with AI right now. Go ask AI, how often are you right? How accurate are your outputs? And then beyond what AI thinks, not really thinking, it's sort of a pre-programmed machine telling you what it's kind of supposed to tell you based on the information it's trained on. But either way, nonetheless, ask it. It's like doing a Google search or reading a book or anything like that. You might as well check in with it, see what it thinks. Check what it thinks. And it's very honest with you. It's as honest as it can be in the sense that it's telling you the data that it understands. And that is that it's not right all the time. I've had my own run-ins with AI being very wrong about things. Very, very wrong. And I'm talking as recently as yesterday. These systems make mistakes just like humans. But one of the differences is the AI doesn't have to deal with the consequences of those mistakes. We do. Your business does. Your family does. Your health. Whatever else is going on out there. You have to do your due diligence. And so part of human creativity and intelligence that I'm promoting is using that creative mind you have, using your critical thought to challenge assumptions that anybody or anything makes to you, including artificial intelligence. So if you're using an AI system, especially a chatbot type of AI system, and you're using that system and it gives you some kind of output, go do a little research. Don't just take the quick answer. Humans don't take the quick answer. The more we do that, the lazier we get. You can't be lazy in business. And you can't be lazy if you're going to get to the end of your life and you're going to love what you've done with your life. You have to get into it and dig a little. You have to make sure that the things you're following and the things you're believing in make sense to you. And of course, you want some semblance of authenticity. You want to feel like the things you're doing are actually you. Because as I said before, confidence is knowing that when you face a challenge, you are going to overcome it. I don't even know the challenge yet. But I, Bobby Vincench, believe that no matter what you throw at me, I'll figure it out. I'm not just saying that. I really believe that because I've proven it to myself over and over again. I'll figure it out. And eventually when the day comes when I don't, I'll figure that out too, right? And that's the mindset that I want all of you to have. But that's built through action. It's not built through having something or someone do something for you. Sometimes you have to do it yourself to see what you're capable of, to show yourself that you are capable of that thing. And of course, we collaborate with each other and we hire people and we work with people and all that because we can't do everything ourselves. But the more you can do, the better. And the more you do those things, the better you get at them. And taking the quick answer sometimes, which I believe that sometimes AI tools provide us, maybe isn't the right route. So I want to present you with a system before I end my chat today about your legacy and you being authentic to you and you using your incredible divine creative powers in this world to do things and affect the direction of the world, to not accept that the fate people tell you is the direction the world is going, that is all that we're going to get to have. Whatever they tell us is the way the world's going, that must be it. But what if I don't agree with it? What if I want a different way? Then I have to believe in my ability to enact change, even if the whole world is going a different direction. You have to believe in that. You have to have this audacious, bold, deep-setted confidence in yourself that you are part of any change, not just the change. There's not just one change that's occurring and we're all sucked into it like some black hole. We create the world we want to see. If you want to see a world going in a certain direction opposite of this one, get to work. That's my advice to you. Now, here's the method I advise you to try. You don't have to use it. Maybe it doesn't work for you, but it works for me. I will tell you that I am a minimal AI user. Almost anything you see from me on the internet, on my website, in my emails, anything I do, this whole talk here, this is entirely Bobby Vincench. So I feel very proud to present this. It feels good to talk to you all right now about what I'm talking to you about, because this came from my mind, my soul, my life experience, and my beliefs, right? So it feels good to say this. I know it inside and out. I've thought about this so much. So if that feels good, I want you to feel good about what you talk about too. So my advice is to use AI minimally if you're going to use it at all, right? And there's no way to avoid it at this point. AI is built into many of the tools you're using, whether you like it or not. So when you choose to be intentional and engage with AI, here's my AI C3 method. The 3 C's for using AI, the way I operate with AI when I use it, which is not all the time, but when I use it, this is how I must do it every single time. It is a rule I've set for myself. We talk about intentionality. We talk about confidence. I am confident in myself. I'm being intentional that if I'm going to use AI, here's how I'm going to use it. First, I'm going to create the thing. Whatever it is, email campaign, this, that, I'm going to take time. I'm going to create it to the best of my ability. If I must tap into AI to collaborate with the machine, whichever tool you're using, that comes in the middle of my process. First, I create, then I collaborate with AI, then I complete the creation. I am the beginning, I am the end. You are the beginning, you are the end. AI gets to be in the middle as a brainstorming partner. That's it. Because now, at the very minimum, if you're going to be using AI, right? Let's say a chatbot to build your business plan, your website content, whatever it is. You start creating the content, which means now your creativity is going, right? You're exercising your mind, you're being divine as God intended. You're here creating and putting things out, and you're making it the best you can. For any parts that I need to improve on, not the whole thing, I never take my whole thing and just hand it to AI. Because some of that is mine. AI doesn't need to be part of it. I want you to read my emails. I want you to see my website. I want you to hear my ideas. But the parts where I'm like, that could be a little better, or I'm not really sure if that's quite right, or let me see some other ideas and possibilities, I'll run those parts through AI with a very specific prompt asking what I'm asking it to do for me. See what it comes back with, and I must change that output so much so that you'll never know it came from AI. Meaning, I got to put me back into it. It starts with me. It ends with me. AI is just a partner in the process. You understand? So that is my advice to everyone out there. It's the best advice I can give as someone who truly believes that the less you use AI, the more you will build yourself up and out. The more you can learn things, the more you can shine. It's easy for me to go use AI as an adult who didn't have AI in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. Very easy, because I already knew who I was. I already built out some of my skills. I already had to do all the work. But for the generation growing up today who only knows AI, those people, those teenagers, those kids, they've never been given a chance to think for themselves yet. You've never been given a chance, your kids, to create first without help. We need to make sure we maintain that we stay human. That we're not all just repeating and parroting the things that machines tell us. They could be wrong. They don't care about us. They're just machines. They're just programs. They don't care about a thing. They don't even know a thing. They're programmed to look at information and spit back out information in a certain kind of way. They don't know what they're doing. They don't care about a thing. We do. We have a knowing, a feeling of knowing of the things we learn and experience. We know what it's like to be human. We are the humans. We can create things that never existed before from scratch. That to me is incredible. I want to maintain that. I want you to help the world maintain that. So we're not all just a bunch of walking, talking machines who are speaking for the machines. In order to do that, you have to take care of yourself. So please put your health first. You've heard it in many spaces. Your health is your wealth. Well, that's the truth. But it's not just about eating, one thing over another thing. It's about working out every day, getting the proper amount of sleep, keeping healthy relationships in your life, getting rid of toxic things, focusing on the positives, focusing on the priorities. It's about all the aspects. It's a holistic approach to actually take care of yourself, because the weaker you are, the more sick you are, the worse you feel every day when you wake up, the more likely you are to not deliver on who you are. The more likely you are to run to AI to do everything for you, or run to other people to do everything for you because you can't do it for yourself. And I think we're here to experience each other and ourselves. And I want to know who you are. The world needs to know who you are. And you can't do that if you're sick. You can't do that if you're sad and if you're suffering. You're going to suffer from time to time. It's part of life. You're going to get sick from time to time. Part of life. But take care of yourself so that you have the strength, the mental clarity to go out there and create amazing, awesome things. And you can do that. So that when you get to the end of your life, you can leave behind an authentic legacy, and you can close your eyes with a smile, if in fact that's how you leave this world. That you can close your eyes with a smile, or at least go to bed every night knowing that if I don't wake up tomorrow, what people will remember me for are the things that were actually who I am. My creations, my ideas, my products, my services, my everything. Now, I know that for a lot of people, you're finding it very, very awesome that you can run to a machine and just have it create for you. And I won't take away from you that there are definitely some shiny object syndrome with AI. There's a new tool every day, probably 100 every day, that you can jump into and have fun with. Please stay human. Please put the work into doing the thing that is going to maintain your ability to go out and create the things you're here to create. Because if you run to the machine for everything, almost none of what you do is you. And then what's the point of you being here? I'm not saying don't be here. Please, don't misunderstand. What I'm saying is there is a reason you're here. And it's not to mirror and parrot a machine that averages out everybody's responses, spits it out, and you become that. So please, my amazing humans, stay human in your business and in your life, and take care of yourself and each other. All right. If you resonated with the message that I just shared, first of all, we could bring this message anywhere you want. So you want to bring it to your people, get in touch with me and we'll talk about it. But more importantly, if you have a teenager in your life that you feel needs to hear some of this, build their own actual self-confidence, stay focused, be more intentional, take personal responsibility, we have a direct program called the Teen Confidence Program at Free Minds Thrive Academy, teaching those things to teenagers. We also have the same program on OutSchool for people who are using that platform. We have an adult coaching program if you feel that you need some of this. And we're also about to launch an initiative relating to staying human in an AI world, which I'll be happy to announce at some point soon. So check us out. If you're just curious what we're up to, just go put your name on the email list and you'll get updates. Otherwise, if you can use one of those things right now in your life, especially for your kid, then definitely please get in touch. Thank you so much for listening to this recording of my live talk that I gave at the Rio Paradigm Shift Business Life and AI event. I appreciate the event's host for having me, and I look forward to future events. All right, see you guys on the next Free Minds Thrive podcast episode. Take care.